Fast X. And yes, I know I'm late to reviewing this movie, but I changed a lot of things at work recently. I used to have my family give me a ride to work essentially, and now I ride the bus to work. And because of that, what would happen at work is I want to have these reviews out for these new movies as soon as possible. Also, I'm just a fan. I want to see them as soon as possible, of course. But I would go right after my shift, and it just made me very exhausted and tired. So I'm glad I'm not doing that anymore. But what that does mean now is if there's a movie I want to go see, I may have to go on a day off now and watch it. Or I may have to go to the Thursday early screenings since I don't work on Thursdays anymore. Which works out for me. I'm happy to do that whenever I have the opportunity to do that. Like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I'm going Thursday for showing at 2 o'clock, June 1st. So that review will be out Friday. A lot of these late reviews won't happen anymore, and I'll be able to have more time to actually sit and watch the movies. Also, I'll be getting better hours at work. So all of it works out for me. I just want to explain, just in case, you guys were wondering why this video was late. Yeah, I reviewed all the Fast and Furious movies. I enjoyed them for what they were, and now we're at Fast X. I was worried about this movie for a couple reasons. I hated Fast 9. I don't think I really came across that way in my review. I definitely didn't like it in the review. You can kind of see that, but I really have grown to hate that movie the more it sat with me. It's just boring and just ridiculous, and it's like someone listened to the memes of the franchise and said, that's what we're doing. This movie brings it down back to where it was at Fast 5. Even tying it into the villain being related to the events, I think it was of that movie. So many Fast and Furious movies, they blend together. Anyways, Jason Momoa is the villain now, and that's cool. He's great as the villain. He definitely plays into the villain role a little too much. He becomes a little too hammy at certain points. There's one point where he's literally talking to dead bodies. And this isn't a spoiler, it's just a random thing that happens in a scene. But yeah, it's really weird and yeah. But then there were other scenes where he just was so good and ridiculously entertaining as a villain, hamming it up, living it up as Jason Momoa does, and he's awesome in the role. He was really fun because he had this flamboyant energy, but he also had this dick energy too, and very masculine energy. So it's like a number of things all mixed together that made this character really fun, and it was just great. Also, he did serve as a real threat in this movie. Things happen to characters, and we know it's a Fast and Furious movie. Who knows if those things that happen to certain characters, I'm not really going to say, will stick, but, because we have characters die and come back all the time. We have characters who joke about being invincible and things like that. So who really knows? Again, I'm just trying to be vague about it, but, it's kind of hard. Anyways, you know how this movie, these type of movies. Yeah, I had fun with this movie. Had some great action sequences, fun moments. Definitely not to the height of the franchise. It's not a 5 or a part 7 to me. To me, this movie is I think the biggest problem with this movie is, for one, this franchise has too many damn characters. For no reason. John Cena's in the movie again. And he's here, and he does some things that are just not really plot relevant at all. And then you got this that happens, and this character and that character. We have Brie Larson, who's new to this movie. Her subplot felt like it could have been cut out of the movie. It didn't really need to be there. It didn't take up a lot of the movie's time, but it did take up enough of the movie's time, and she wasn't really fun or interesting. So yeah, just a lot of things like that just made this movie go on, and I was and I wasn't hating it, but I was definitely I don't there were several points throughout the movie I'm oh, that's right, these guys are characters and they matter, I guess, because it was this character, then that character. I would forget certain characters were just in this movie because there's just too many of them, and it gets to a point where you're just all right. And then the CG in this movie, especially fire effects, is terrible. This is a $300 million movie. Honestly, effects like this should never look this bad. They should in a movie this expensive, and it just does. I noticed it in the when they went to Rome in this movie and they had like a car chase. In that scene, it was just horrible. And then you got like a lot of the yeah. And then just for I guess other complaints, this movie really isn't a complete story, but I already knew that going in, so it didn't bother me. I feel like some people are going to be mad because they're going to be like, well, it's not a complete story. It's like, guys, it's put out there very publicly. This is not the last one. They're doing 2 more now. It was going to be 1 more, but still, like, this has been put out there very public. That's what I don't get about some of these critics who are, like, trashing it, going, it's not a complete story. Yeah, well, you didn't complain when Avengers Infinity War ended the way it did, you know? I guess we'll talk about the spoilers now for this movie. Yeah, John Cena's character dies, but again, I don't think he's gonna stay dead. So, and then we have like, then we have like the way the movie ends with like Vin Diesel's character and his son sitting by this dam that's about to blow up, and yeah, and there's Gal Gadot's character returns. It's like all these cool things, but I'm also like, we just got rid of some characters, and now you're bringing them more or bringing back more. It's gotten too complicated, this franchise, and that's why I'm glad this is coming to an end, because I am enjoying them. I'm having fun, cool, but there is definitely a thing where even though I'm having fun, the energy and my love for the franchise is just not there the same way it was with 5 and 7. Even though I honestly, to be honest with you guys, even reviewing all these movies, I never loved any of these movies. I had fun with them. I enjoyed them. They're the dumb kind of popcorn movies that I just don't get into as much as other people. But I do like them, and I do, and that's why I saw this one. It isn't just to review it for you guys, because I did want to see it. I had fun. I had a great time. You know, I'm probably going to forget about this movie by next week and not really think about it, but, you know, I still had a great time. And I think that that's the thing. Most moviegoers are going to go watch this movie. They're going to have a good time, and they're going to be entertained. Some of these critics that are, like, trashing this movie, I don't know what they're expecting, because we already knew this movie was not going to be a full deal, full complete story. It was going to end on a cliffhanger. Could they have done more to make this feel like a more complete movie? Absolutely. But at this point, we have so many damn characters that it makes it a little bit hard, and that is definitely an issue I have with the movie.